YouTube, what the crap is going on? Heir of Carthage here, back in Total War Attila, and I'm going to show you another replay between myself and Agony Prussian Prince. And at the very end of this game, my computer actually crashed and then restarted. New graphics driver is always great because apparently we just release those type of things broken nowadays. But we were having a lot of lag anyway because for whatever reason my ISP has been really bad today. But it was a fun battle, and by the time that I've dropped, you should be able to tell who's in control of the battle. I'm not going to say who because I want you to watch. So it won't be indecisive in the sense that it ends. So let's go ahead and start it up, and you're going to see some fun play here. And it's from Prussian Prince's perspective, and you can see that he's gone with like a very elite army corps here with the Franks. So he's got fully upgraded on almost all of his units. These Germanic cav are very strong, and he's also got all these swordsmen. So he's got a whole bunch of royal and Strutiones or whatever these guys are, very strong swordsmen. They have 2 javelins at 100 missile damage, so they've got some nice javelins, and this is some very strong melee cav. He's got back here all these noble Germanic horsemen. He did bring a couple of cheap shock cav, these Frankish lancers, a good choice. They can always deliver some nice charges. He's not going to be able to see, well, he shouldn't be able to see my army, but since it's a replay, I guess you can. Maybe they made it to where you can see enemy units on a replay, but at this point, my guys are hidden moving through the woods. I've got 8 Legio Comitatenses with 3 silver chevrons, and then I've got 2 Contari light cav, and I've got 2 elite Ballistari, which are well-armored crossbow infantry, and crossbow infantry has very nice armor-piercing damage. I've got no upgrades on these Equites Promoti. These are some pretty good units just for their cost, which is why I brought them. I wasn't expecting fully upgraded noble cav, so I am quickly outmatched in the cavalry department, but I have a huge infantry advantage. I've also got 2 elite Palatina for higher attack units. These guys, though, I don't want them on the front line per se, but I want them to be reinforcing. But again, 8 Legio Comitatenses with decent upgrades versus a smaller sword corps of probably 6. If I get up here on the top, yeah. So he's got 6 elite swords with very nice upgrades versus my 10 in total.
The enemy has been sighted.
That's cool. Did it just call out something here? Huh. I guess it calls out where maybe stuff has been sighted. I don't know what that was. But in any case, yeah, I do go ahead and move my Legio Comitatenses out of the forest to try and offer an engagement where he can see my men, but I am still hiding my elite Ballistari, and I don't know if he caught a glimpse of them at the start or not. I really want to use these guys on high-value targets. You can see their missile damage is 65, and it's pretty awesome from an armor-piercing standpoint. I'll go take a look at the armor-piercing stat when we get out of here. But yeah, you can see it's kind of a standoff, and he had to kind of go AFK for just a moment, so we were actually waiting on him to come back, so I'll fast forward until there's some movement. So you have to see that, but yeah, he did have to go AFK. There was a lot of lag in this game as well, which honestly is going to help me way more than it's going to... it's probably just going to be really annoying for Prussian Prince, but it's going to help me because he has some pretty insane micro, and it's one of the things that's hard for me to keep up with when I've played against him. So the lag actually kind of gives me a chance to keep up, so it's unfair for him because he's unable to maximize that advantage, but it definitely helped me in that sense. So I'm going to push my Legio forward, just kind of walking. I want to see if I can spot some of his men in the forest, because I was going to actually test the question that Maximus had for me. Can you actually burn the guys out of the forest? You can't actually target the trees or the ground, unfortunately, which I kind of wish that they would change that so that you could actually burn the forest and see what's in there. You would actually have to maybe use a scout cav or something to spot a unit, then you can fire flaming arrows and catch the forest on fire. The forest being on fire around the men hidden in it is going to affect their morale. So, I mean, it is definitely going to make forest camping trickier if the enemy has a pretty large skirmishing advantage. So, I actually do go ahead and try and click an attack order with my elite Ballistari. But he sees what I'm trying to do here, I'm sure. Doesn't want to take a bunch of fire from these high armor penetration crossbows, so I'm going to quickly run away because I see cavalry incoming. And then I turned off the javelins momentarily on my Legio Comitatenses because I thought that he was going to charge my men and I wanted them to brace, but then I go ahead and turn the javelins back on. You can see very nice range on the javelins for the Legio Comitatenses. They should be using the Plumbata darts, so that's probably why the Romans have nice range. I bring my Contari up, and I'm trying to blunt the charge of his swordsman here.
Our general is under attack.
they've got, it's a meager charge, but these guys are much better than mine in melee, pound for pound. So we end up in a big fight here. I gotta keep his cav out of my backlines, and then I target the enemy general, and he dies very quickly to flaming shot from my crossbowman. So with all the armor piercing, and then the flaming shot has a bonus versus cav, the high damage and stuff, my crossbows just waste the enemy general in like 1 or 2 volleys. You can see Prussian Prince really didn't even have time to react. So his general dies, which is going to put a major effect on his guys here. And I've used War Cry on his men in the centers, so, and the general's dead. So if you look, these guys are actually still holding their morale fairly well. They're down to, some of them have lost quite a bit of morale. This unit has, but and this unit's suffering as well. So in this case, I'm actually the red guys in the battle. Normally I'm going to be the yellow guys, but I think I told you this is from Prussian Prince's perspective. So I am the red in this case, and you can see the units killed here. I had far more men, and you can see that he is killing a large number of my men, but he doesn't have that many men of his own. So yes, I've lost a lot of men so far in this battle, and will continue to. But at the same time, he doesn't have a whole lot of men, and now his are starting to drop. My cavalry has been kind of outmatched, and he's trying to have to use his for rear charges to overcome some of my infantry. But my crossbowmen are going to start paying dividends. Again, they destroyed the enemy general. If I can keep them alive, I'll be able to kite him in the late game, and all I really need my equites for, I've held them in reserve just to keep his noble Germanic horsemen from getting to my crossbows. And if I can successfully keep his guys out of my crossbows, keep my general alive, I'm pretty sure that the enemy morale is not going to be able to support a victory here. So again, I've just got to keep a close eye on his noble horseman, like right here. I'm going to intercept his noble Germanic horseman. I destroyed another one of his units that was back here, or actually that's my Kontari routing. I had another equite back here in reserve, so I'm keeping a lot of my cavalry in reserve and trying to use infantry to get a hold of his cav, which is okay-ish. It's definitely not good to just be in a super prolonged melee engagement with infantry, and here you're going to see my elite Ballistari opening fire into the flank of these elite swordsmen who are going after my general, and you can see that, I mean, it is going to drop them substantially. You can see the damage being done. So some of you wondered if missiles are going to serve any purpose. Missiles serve many roles, as I can see so far, and here he is going to get his noble Germanic horseman close to my crossbows. I managed to slow him down just for another second with my equites, and I'm going to continue to fall back, but the Prussian Prince goes ahead and keeps on moving. This is very, very bad for me. I do have infantry that's starting to tank it out here, though, because just of numbers. His guys have gotten a lot of kills. He does have this unit, though, completely free on the flank. But I have the cav advantage at this point. I'm starting to wrap up all of his cavalry, and he's losing his opportunity to get to my crossbowmen. This unit of Germanic nobles did get into my crossbows and killed a fair number of them, but I've also managed to beat it back, and I have my general here to help chase it off as well. And yeah, so it's pretty much dead, and the only other cav unit remaining is fully engaged in combat over here for him, and my equites are actually doing okay-ish here. So, in any case, I'm in good shape now. My crossbows can kite the death out of his men. He's losing infantry, and this is quickly turning into my favor. And if you look at the kills now, too, Prussian Prince only has 216 men left, while I have over 600. So it's just numbers turning against him here. This melee cav mopped up one of his sword units. This was the point at which I dropped from the game because my computer was crashing, but this one was going to be in my favor here. But again, Prussian Prince tried a risky strategy here, but I like it. Again, he's trying to be deliberate about what he picks. He's trying to find out if certain things are overpowered. Can I go for like crazy strong melee cav and just run all over the enemy and, you know, have this infantry? So I like that he's trying these type of builds. And for me, again, these crossbowmen were clutch. They didn't get a ton of kills, but they were able to kill his general very quickly, and then what kills they did get were very important kills. You can see that for the most part my infantry got pooped on. There was just a lot of them. And I was able to use this Kontari fairly well. It's a pretty cheap unit, and those 75 kills would have come on the expensive sword units of Prussian Prince. So this unit was probably paid for itself. This one, not really. And then my equites Promoti, though, did pretty well. But again, the crossbows clutching out for me here. But clearly, Prussian Prince getting a lot more kills than me. But his smaller army wasn't quite able to overcome the larger numbers of my men here. But it appears in Attila, or Total War Attila, there may be a slight rebalancing of how numbers versus quality goes, because in Total War Rome 2, putting upgrades was kind of pointless. and you were almost always better off just to have more units rather than trying to upgrade something, whereas that may end up being different here. Again, it depends on whether or not they keep upgrades as cheap as they are, or if they change what the upgrades do and all that other kind of stuff. So let's look at the some of these units that we saw in the battle, though. So again, Legio Comitatenses, just the base one, decentish health, decentish armor, okay melee defense. You know, they have a decent missile weapon with decent range. It's got a... Here's the stats off the standard shot. It doesn't have any bonus versus large, so it looks like they've corrected the bonus versus large on javelins. So that's probably going to also help in the rebalancing of cavalry versus infantry that some people were hoping to see. Check this out, though. A defensive testudo actually gives these guys plus 15 attack against cavalry. So another interesting... and elephants at that point, and gives a missile block chance and mass. So I really like that. There's a 7. I like how it shows you the assembly time too. It takes them 7 seconds to get into it. So lots of interesting stuff that's going to be taking place in Attila, and I can't wait to test it out and see how it works. You know, obviously we may have to do some balancing in the game and give some suggestions to creative assembly, but I mean, I am excited about it so far. As far as the Western Romans go, I do like that they have pretty effective melee cav at a reasonable price. It's not as good as some of the barbarian stuff, but I mean, at the price, it's a pretty decent performance. And then from a shock cav standpoint, I really like Cataphractari. They're not the biggest, baddest shock cav on the block, but they've got decent stats again for the price. And Contari are very cheap and capable of getting a lot of kills if used properly. So charging into unbraced infantry with these guys is deadly, and they're cheap. So lots of fun. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed these battles. I enjoyed playing as Prussian Prince. Let me show you the Frankish lineup real quick, just so you can kind of see what he would have had access to. Plenty of melee infantry for him. He was using these units here. I really like some of the axe units from the Franks. These guys are a little riskier, though. But I mean, they have some super damaging precursor axe attacks, so very interesting. I would think that maybe combining axe infantry with the sword infantry could end up being effective, because these guys do have excellent armor piercing damage. So if we look at the melee damage, 16 armor piercing damage coming from them. So, and they have a pretty good chance to hit too at 52. So it's going to be interesting. But I mean, cavalry wise, they have a lot of different shock cav, Sacra, Francisca. These guys look pretty sweet. That is a pretty nice charge bonus and pretty good health and armor. This is a painful heavy shock cav right here, so these guys are nice. Maybe not quite as good as the guy in Aspar, but very nice. So they're going to have some serious tools here, the Franks will, I think. Frankish Lancers. They have a very nice selection of shock cavalry. But again, you can see all of their skirmisher cav very expensive, which is unfortunate. Because again, I think it's going to make them unusable. It's just a guess for me. Having access to crossbow infantry is going to be great. These guys aren't elite and armored like some of the others, but a decent ammunition with precision shot, with all that armor piercing damage. So the armor piercing damage on crossbows is, holy crap, it's 50. Whoa! So yeah, if you're looking to cut down armored units, that would explain really quickly why my crossbowman absolutely mowed down the Frankish general. And that's what he would have had here. This Frankish general just got absolutely whacked by the crossbows. Anyway, again, hope you all enjoyed it. I know I am. Still learning a lot. And hopefully I'll get some more battles with Prussian Prince eventually too. I always enjoy it. There's a few other YouTubers who are trying to join up with me. I am trying to eventually get together with Total Warzone and THFE, and I think Sunjetsu and others have tried to find me. And which, by the way, it's Sunjetsu, if you're watching this, I know you sent your email through. I got it, and honestly, I'm sorry, I just forgot to respond. It's been a very busy week. I'm not trying to ignore you. So all you folks who are trying to get a hold of me, and then I think Maximus has some replays I was going to try a show from Total War Rome 2, so I am trying to get caught up, just very busy. But anyway, yeah, hopefully I can catch up with more of you. It is hard for me sometimes to coordinate with other people, but I do try and do it where I can. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.